Fantasy football is my religion.
Smile!
Because I love Brad and...
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
All I see are lies and collusion. This whole season is nuts.
Giddy on up and giddy on out.
One-on-one, I'm undefeated, never lost.
Hello, fellas. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Gravy, the official podcast of the Kappa Sigma Alumni Fantasy Football League. Hosted by me, your currently undefeated and 2014 Bundy champion, and a person who will not name any future sons by the name of Nelson.
What's up, man?
How you doing this week, Stu?
I'm doing pretty good. We've got a big show for you guys today. Let's go ahead and move to our first section. We've got our fantasy juggernauts.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
This week, we've got two new guys and one guy that no one shocked he's here. So first up, we've got Mo with 137.68 points. Lamar Jackson is his MVP for 25.48 points. The Patriots D with another 24 point is ridiculous. It's absurd. The sad part is this is kind of Mo coming back down to reality. No one else could have beaten him, but it's probably one of his lower scores in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, and then we have Day coming up with 132.2 points. His MVP, Jared Goff. King Joffrey himself with 28.68 points. And then Vince, the last and final juggernaut, 131.12 points. His MVP is Todd Gurley with 22.59 points. The Gurley having 2 touchdowns this Sunday, Stu. And Stu, I got a question.
What's that?
With it now being October, would it no longer be Fantasy Juggernauts, but would it be...
He did the mash. He did the monster mash. The monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. He did the mash. It caught on in a flash.
So, yeah, I'm wondering, is it no longer Fantasy Juggernauts, or are they just Monster Mash in the competition?
That's a terrible dad pun. It was all around terrible. I give you a D-.
It was new. Did the Monster Mash come through on your end?
It did. It very much did come through on my end. And it was, unnecessary altogether.
Game changer.
I'm not going to change it, no. But yeah, that's our 3 fantasy juggernauts this week. 2 of them, Day has never been there. Vince has before, but Day, it's a first-time arrival for him. And, of course, it's against me this week, so that was wonderful.
Day did it by only getting like 22 total points from Kelsey and Ertz.
Yeah.
Which is even more impressive.
Well, the worst part is that he got golf from me to beat me. So that's just peaches and rainbows and wonderful things. So, yeah, that's it for our juggernauts this week.
Yeah, we'll see what the juggernauts are for week 5, or I'd say the Monster Masters. But I guess Stu's going to go ahead and keep it the fancy juggernauts. Tune in next week to see who makes the list for week 5. And Stu, can you give us the ambulance report?
Sure. All right, guys. First up, we've got Michael Gallup. Not ruled out for week 5. I thought he was ruled out for week 5. I thought that was
Jerry Jones coming up saying he's not ruled out.
Okay, well that's me misreading. Shocker there. So recovering from a trim on his meniscus in his knee, possible comeback this week. If not, he'll be back next week at week 6. So that's good for them. Good for Dak. Amari seems to do better when he's out there. It's another guy that the defense has to pay attention to and not just completely totally focus on him. So that could be a good thing for both of them. So, yeah. And then next up, we've got John Ross. Shoulder injury. No real update today. Shocker. has a great matchup against Arizona this next week. So hopefully they get him back because he has looked amazing this year.
Yeah, he's had 2 amazing weeks and 2 dud weeks. But with Andy Dalton and them having that coach that came from the Sean McVay coaching tree against Arizona, I expect him to sling it.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a much better week. I thought they were going to have a good week this week, but didn't seem to go that way. The defense just seemed to pummel Andy Dalton the entire time, so I'm not really sure what happened there. Next up, we've got Rashad Penny. He practiced yesterday. He's recovering from a hamstring injury. He has a good shot at playing this Thursday night game versus the Rams, but hamstring issues do tend to linger a little bit.
Yeah, and Chris Carson, I don't think is losing his starting job anytime soon. No fumbles this weekend. They can take it easy on Penny.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, we've got Marlon Mack. Ankle was held out on Sunday's game due to Colts being blown out. Yeah, I mean, which totally makes sense. Why hurt your guy if he's already hurting? You're not coming back from it. He's expected to play against the Chiefs this week, so he should be all good. But yeah, I mean, I understand why they did it. Wasn't helpful to Matt whatsoever, but looks like Brad should be all right for you.
I hope so. And then Josh Allen, Stu, with a concussion. He's now in the concussion protocol. He got knocked out of the Patriots game, so he couldn't throw another pick for the Bills, but his backup did. So don't know if Josh Allen's going to make it back for this week. Once again, the concussion protocol, we don't know how long they can miss. They could be back this week, or they can miss up to 2 weeks. It just depends when symptoms subside and they start passing the test.
Yep, no, I completely agree. That Patriots D is nasty, so no shocker there. But yeah, he should be out of the protocol, I would say sooner rather than later. But they may still hold him out just to make sure he's good. Then we've got Mitch Trubisky.
I believe it's his first one.
It is. It's his first one, recorded one, at least in the NFL. So yeah, he should be all right. Mitch Trubisky, did you see this hit?
Oh, it looked nasty.
Yeah, he had an MRI revealed a dislocated left shoulder and slight lumbar tear. No surgery at this point. Expected to miss 1 week and come back after the bye. Yeah, God, I can't even imagine that. So they're not going to hurt him. They're not going to rush him back too soon. So
here's the good thing though, Stu, with the Bears and that defense, that team's built to have a bad quarterback, and all they need is Chase Daniels, former Mizzou quarterback, just to come in and just be a game manager. Just hand the ball off and just check down and don't give the ball up. Throw it away if it's not there, and just allow your defense to keep you in short field position.
Yep, totally agree. Then we have Devontae Adams, turf toe, did not practice yesterday, expected to miss at least a few weeks. I've seen a couple of different reports from, 1 week guaranteed, 2, possibly 3. It's one of those issues that once it happens, it really just lingers, especially if he keeps playing on it. So,
and on last Thursday night, he couldn't put any weight on that foot whatsoever.
No, he couldn't even put his shoe back on. So, Day, congratulations on getting him to perform for you once, but it's going to be a little while before you get it again.
I recommend putting in Alshon Jeffrey Day to replace Devontae Adams for a few weeks.
Yep, should be good. He's looking healthy again. They hyper-targeted him last week.
Yeah. And then T.J. Hawkinson, tight end for the Lions, finally scored some points for Matt, and then got a concussion, hurt his shoulder. He was carted off the field on Sunday. It looked pretty bad. Looks like he's going to miss significant time. The good news is they did not place him on injured reserve. Kind of reminds me of the Hunter Henry thing. He's not placed in IR, but you really shouldn't expect to see this kid back until toward the end of the year. He's a rookie. They don't want to ruin his body right when they just drafted him. I believe he was a first-round pick for Detroit. So they're going to take care of him.
They are. Sad thing to see with such a good player. But yeah, so he's going to be out a little while. Looking pretty rough on that $63 WAB budget spender there. Next up, we've got AJ Green. Per Adam Schefter, expected to be out until at least week 6. Again, the guy is not rushing back out to get himself hurt again. He's in his last year of his contract. He's going to get healthy as possible before he comes out there and tries to show out.
Some people are recommending that he doesn't come back at all this season.
That'd be pretty crazy if he did that, but he would still be under contract technically. As long as he doesn't play this year, he's still technically under contract. So,
does it count though if you're hurt?
I don't know how that works. I mean, I would assume he's not playing, so I don't know how all of that works. It just depends on how much the Bengals really want him, and I think his lawyers would figure that out for him. So that's an interesting question, an interesting way to do it if it doesn't count.
That would be an interesting doctor note I would like to see. Here comes AJ Green to a team meeting saying, "Hey, I went to my doctor today," and he hands him a note written in crayon saying, "Can't play till week 18." And they go, "Well, AJ, there is no week 18. He goes, "Oh, well, that's what my doctor said."
Yep. And then we've got Sam Darnold has been cleared for non-contact drills. So it means this is kind of what we expected. He's over the mono, he's no longer contagious for anybody else. He's probably still weak. They're going to work him in there slowly. I think his return date, some people are saying week 5, but I really think next week is going to be the earliest you get the guy back.
Yeah, I agree. And he still has to pass conditioning test too. There's a lifting weights and everything to show with his endurance that he can actually handle it. And so they haven't even done those tests yet. So week 5 is what Sam Darnold says he wants. But, I mean, he's the franchise quarterback. He may want to play week 5. But the Jets may hold him out because, I mean, he's their future.
Yep, I completely agree. And then, guys, don't forget that we have 2 buys this week again. We've got the my mind is slipping here.
We got Miami Dolphins, Stu, which you've put a note that nobody cares.
Nobody, yeah. If you're playing a Miami Dolphin right now, you are losing. Yeah. So, and then
Detroit. The Detroit Lions are on bye.
Yeah, which we've heard some.
No Kerryon Johnson, no Marvin Jones.
No, well, and there's the whispers in the bushes that a previous Lion, Golden Tate, may be back here soon.
Yeah, I got an alert on my phone while we've been recording that he has been officially activated. And also, side note, that Bucs wide receiver Mike Evans' first 2 games were wrecked by a debilitating stomach illness. So it sounds like Mike Evans was out on the field just trying not to poo himself.
Sounds like he's making excuses, but that's just me. I should have better numbers because I should have better numbers. That's what I just heard. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to our Dynasty. That's our entries for the week. So, Brad, what do we got when it comes to Dynasty?
Well, in week 4, we had Stu lose to Dixon. I beat Puva. I'm 2-2. You're 2-2. Matt lost to Rod, and Adam beat B-Dub. So Matt and Adam are both 2-2. And I also believe Rod's 2-2. So week 5, what we got going on here is I have a 53% chance to beat Rod. Dixon has an 85% chance to beat Adam. Stu has a 73% chance to beat B-Dub. And Matt has an 82% chance to beat Puva. Kind of interesting. I get to face Rod in Dynasty and Redraft this week. So in the Bundy League and the Dynasty League, Rod, I am taking you down.
That's crazy. All right, guys. Next up, we've got our consistency rankings for the entire league. First up, we've got Lovick at number 12. The guy, going 0-4. It's not the craziest shocker kind of moment there. He's just had a rough bit of luck. Hasn't gotten any really good trades that just really are going to help his team grow. I keep making the joke first to worst, but it's a joke.
I'll say this about Lovick, Stu. He had he did that trade for Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon has a dream matchup next week against Arizona. I think he's going to have a really, really good week. But after that, Joe Mixon's schedule's pretty difficult. And I'm just after next week, Joe Mixon's probably trade value is going to be the highest it's ever going to be. I might look at try to swap him for a different running back with a better schedule. Look at his playoff schedule. Except he does face Miami at the very, very end, but the rest of it, not good. Yeah. So you're right, Stu. His trades just haven't gone Lovick's way. He's been just ravaged by injuries. But Tyreek Hill should be on the way back soon. And if anything, that Kansas City offense against Detroit kind of looked like they missed the guy. There wasn't any real big plays besides on the ground, and it looks like Tyreek Hill is severely missed in that wide receiver core. They're doing good, but they're just so much they're so much more dangerous with them.
Yep,
so
I agree.
Lovick, 12.
All right, so next up we have Matt at number 11. He's making trades. He's trying to make his team better, but it just does not seem to be working for him right now. I think better days are ahead. Some closer matchups are going to decide, but it just looks like a rough year, rough going for Matt this year.
Matt, stop trading. that's the only advice I can give, because you got at least the guy may have a bad week, but then you trade him and he has a good week for somebody else the next week. So just stay put for a bit. Which is funny, that advice coming from me, because I love trading. I mean, if I could have it my way, I'd own my little shack in a flea market, constantly bargaining people on a 3-legged chair. But you know what? That doesn't win you fantasy championships. So Matt, if I were you, I would just stay put for a little bit.
Yep, and it is really funny because you did just recently trade Matt, so that's even better.
Matt offered me that trade, so I was very surprised by it, and I quickly took it.
Yeah, you did. All right, so next up we've got Adam, the third team that is 0-4. I don't know that we have ever had this in the league.
This is crazy. 2 undefeated teams and 3 winless teams. But guess what? That's going to change, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we are.
Adam, good team. Don't ever bench Chris Godwin, ever.
Yep.
Please start that man every week. I think he went crazy on your bench. I know you need some points from the Steelers to win. It didn't happen, but
the fact that you got 19 points from the Steelers is pretty ridiculous in itself. So
yeah, just please start Chris Godwin moving forward, and then you will be goobering up some wins if you do that.
All right, and so next up we've got Rod. The funny thing is, from Rod all the way to Dixon, we're all 2-2. Every last one of us. So that's a large section.
Game.
Yeah, it's the large section of the league. We're really all fighting for those next couple of spots. You and Mo have to literally get two more wins to almost guarantee yourself a spot in the playoffs. CoPro needs 3. So, it's so close between the rest of us with those other 3 spots. These rankings are what we all kind of believe about the team more than what the actual standings show. So, yeah, Rod, you're there, but you're also still in the hunt. You're still making, you've won 2, you've lost 2, so it's not a devastating thing. I think you're going to stay in the hunt at least for a while here. But, yeah, so I don't really think your team is bad. I don't necessarily think you have a juggernaut team either. So it's just kind of week to week for you.
Yeah, and I agree with you on Rod. He's got some interesting plays he can make. He's facing me this week. He does have Matt Ryan against Houston. Houston's secondary has not been that great, so I know he's really hoping for a big Julio game, a big Will Fuller game in that matchup. And if he can get a big game out of Robert Woods Thursday night against Seattle, Rod has a good chance to upset me. Because as we've shown, despite you having DeAndre Hopkins, Odell Beckham Jr. on the same team, they can put up basically nothing for you in 1 week. Anything can happen. And Rod, if you get a big week this week, you can go ahead and get that 3rd win.
Yep. And then we've got Day. Day has shown that he can be a juggernaut. But with the Devontae Adams injuries and some, his weird tight end situation, he's kind of pigeonholed on what his options are for flex and other things. Again, he's still winning 2-2. So, he's still in the hunt. His team is definitely not bad. And with Goff, it looks like his quarterback situation is better now. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Here's the thing with Day. Derrick Henry's come back to earth. He had that big 28-point game week 1. And then week 2, he had a respectable 15. But since then, he had 11 against Jacksonville, and he had 13 against Atlanta. But here's the issue. His running backs right now are Derrick Henry and Frank Gore. They play each other. So you have Derrick Henry against a very nasty Tennessee Titans front 7. And then you have Frank Gore up against you have Derrick Henry against Buffalo's nasty front 7. And vice versa, Frank Gore against Tennessee Titans front 7. Neither of those matchups are good for a running back. And then he has Sterling Shepard up against the Vikings. I'm not a fan of Goff at Seattle Thursday night. I don't think Goff's going to have the same week he had this week. So I don't know. We're going to see what happens, but I think you might have a rougher week this week than what you had last week.
Well, and then next up, we've got another juggernaut on the list, Vince. You had a good run this week. Your team's been right around the 100 mark just about every week. I think you're going to keep staying close to the hunt. I think you're going to stay close, but there's really no telling. There's a couple of good players on your team. David Johnson seems to be doing much, much better this year, but the Cardinals in general are struggling. But we'll see how that goes for you.
Yeah, Vince, your team's going to go as Gurley goes. I think it's just going to be that simple. The rest of your guys are really consistent. But Gurley got only like 16 yards rushing or something ridiculously small. But they got him in the passing game.
Yep.
Which if you can get a touchdown and you get Gurley involved in the passing game, you'll take that any day of the week because you'll love them half-point catches, and he'll get you probably about 20 points every time, at least minimum, if they involve him like they did this past Sunday. As Gurley goes, your team will go.
I agree. Next up, we've got me at number 6, just about where I've been just about every week. Gallman really worked out. Really excited about that. Melvin Gordon's back this week. Can't get a wide receiver to make over 5 points apparently. If the Vikings can start throwing the ball, 5 times a game, I might be all right. And then I'm middle of the road, and I'm fine with that. Just got to get a couple of wins and sneak into playoffs, and I think I'll be all right.
I got good news. I think Adam Thielen was voicing his opinion pretty loudly to the media that they need to pass more. And they're too run heavy, and they went to a game plan of this past week facing a very stout defense and decided they thought they were just going to run all over them, and that didn't happen. So they have to be able to let Kirk Cousins throw. There's no reason you pay that man all that money just to stand back there and hand the ball off. I can do that. You can do that. So they need to stop paying. They need to start playing Kirk Cousins like they're paying him. And I think the wide receivers are starting to voice their opinion. Diggs had a good game. I think Thielen has better days. I think they're going to become more balanced. I think they've realized they can't just be run heavy the entire time, and that eventually it's going to bite them in the butt.
Well, hopefully they do something. All right, then we've got Sammy with an I at number 5. He's got a good team. He's had just some rough luck. I had a juggernaut week a couple of weeks ago against him. He played Mo last week. I mean, he's just got the gauntlet of tough matchups. He's still scoring over the league average, so I think he's got some wins coming to him.
Chris Carson has been a beast for him. You got another 19 points out of Chris Carson this past Sunday. 100 yards on the ground, 41 yards receiving. The fact that they're using that man in the passing game, that's a game changer for a running back. And that's his RB2. His RB1 is Alvin Kamara. So, I mean, I love the Jacoby Brissett pickup because get this, the only quarterback to have multiple touchdowns passing the entire year so far, there's only one, Jacoby Brissett.
Yep. So, yeah, no, that seems to – and then Matt Stafford had a good game. So either one, he would have been within 26 or more points. So, I think he's got a good tandem there. We got to figure out which matches to start. I mean, as long as he plays Brissett for right now because he's got the hot hand, why not? If Matt Stafford just has a really good matchup, put him in there. But other than that, yeah, I don't see any reason why not. And then next up, we've got Dixon at number 4. The man has had some good games. Almost had an upset this week. I thought he had the win. He's got a really good team. I think he's going to make the playoffs pretty easily. We're going to be fighting for these next couple of spots. So I think he's good to go.
Yeah, tough matchup this week against Mo, but Aaron Rodgers looked a lot better this last week. James Conner, if you watched that game last night,
yep.
James Conner's value is back, baby.
Oh,
because all they're using is Jalen Samuels doing this little tap pass to him. Which, guess what? That's not a handoff. That counts as a reception.
Yep.
So he's getting a half point every time on these darn things. I mean, just last night alone, those little tap passes, they count up to 8 receptions.
It was ridiculous.
83 yards receiving. And he still carried the ball 10 times, 42 yards. James Conner is going to be just fine moving forward. They're going to rely on the running backs in Pittsburgh to get take the heat off the young QB. Yep.
Kaprovic with another win. Didn't have a great week, but still pulled out the win. The only team in the league that's 3-1. He did lose last week, but he came back with a win against Shep this week. So I think he's going to be just fine. This week I'm hoping to put him at 3-2, and put myself at 3-2. But we'll see how that goes. He's got a good team, even with the trade he made, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. I don't really think he changed his core players really, so I think he just gave himself some more depth for buys coming up.
Yeah, and here's the thing with CoPro. He won without Patrick Mahomes scoring a touchdown. He won on Patrick Mahomes' down week.
Yep.
CoPro, go have a cupcake. You deserve it. To get a win on the 1 week Mahomes doesn't throw a touchdown, because guess what? That's not going to happen the rest of the year.
Nope.
So, congratulations, sir, on that win. And then next up, we have this guy, Stu. That's right. If you heard the Palpatine laugh, you know it's me coming in at number 2, undefeated 4-0. because Ross last night decided to play more like Ross from Friends, and that guy probably can't play football. So thank you, Ross and Mixon, for having a subpar Monday Night Football. Thank you, Andy Dalton, for bringing primetime Andy, which if y'all don't know historically, Andy Dalton is horrendous in primetime games, which includes Thursday nights, Sunday nights, and Monday nights. So excited, happy to be here, looking forward to facing Raw next week because I didn't think I was going to win. Not after only having 2 players go off. I mean, when Deshaun Watson gets me only 6 points, I'm not very optimistic.
Yeah, I was thinking you were going to get your first loss there. Lubbock was going to get his first win there, get himself out of the basement. But seems like you pulled it off, and you're still going strong. So, all right. Next up,
that's all it is. Just I did pray to the Bundy. So
yeah. Well, there is that. Next up, we've got our league juggernaut, Mo. So he's still going strong. Came down to earth at 137 points. So. Being a juggernaut almost seems like if you're a juggernaut, you of course won that week, but 137 points seems to be a line that if you can score somewhere in that range, you're going to win. It is sad when a couple of people that have done that haven't won, but mostly it's Mo's being ridiculous.
Mo loses Austin Eckler for the week, but he gains Golden Tate coming back. Daniel Jones proves to be a much better quarterback than Peyton Manning. I'm not Peyton Manning. I'm sorry, Eli Manning. He probably is a better quarterback than Peyton Manning right now. Peyton has a noodle arm when he retired. So, we'll see how the Golden Tate works out. He still has McCall Hardman and Christian Kirk and backup Terry on the bench. So, I think, Mo, you're the number 1 team, and you're still going to be the number 1 team moving forward.
Yep, I agree. So we'll see how this goes. But with Zeke and Ingram going crazy, I think you're going to be just fine for right now. All right. So, the only undefeated teams we have are Brad and Mo again, and then the winless teams are Lovick, Matt, and Adam. Still need to get some wins is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and a quick playoff and diddle bracket outlook because we're a quarter way through the season, guys. We're a quarter way through the regular season. In the Bundy bracket right now, me and Mo would have a bye. In the playoff hunt for those playoff spots is Vince at 3-1, Copra at 3-1, Dixon at 2-2, and Sam at 2-2. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I have that correct.
Yep, it is. That is right.
Okay, so Vince is 3-1. And Purgatory, Stu, and Day, Diddle bracket, Rod, Adam, Lovick, and Matt. But like you said, Stu, we have 5 teams that are 2-2, 2 teams that are 3-1. It's anybody's game moving forward. You just got Melvin Gordon back. I know you got to be pumped about that and pumped about getting Saquon Barkley down at the end of the season for that playoff push.
I am very excited. So just got to win a couple of these in the middle.
All right, Stu, let's go on to the next segment.
All right, guys, we've got our collusion corner for trades. Brad, we've had some crazy trades this week. We had CoPro trades away T.Y. Hilton and Vance McDonald to get to Matt for David Montgomery and Calvin Ridley. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, CoPro gets Montgomery back. Montgomery's snaps have gone up every week. He's one of those guys that's targeted like Miles Sanders to have a big second half. I think, personally, I would have held on to David Montgomery. Matt, you get Vance McDonald and T.Y. Hilton. T.Y., when he comes back, he will be better than Calvin Ridley. He'll be more consistent. I feel like you overpaid. For T.Y. I think giving up Montgomery and Calvin Ridley – and then Vance McDonald, you don't know when he's going to come back. I think that was like a gut reaction to the TJ Hawkinson issue. And you're a Steeler fan, but I could be wrong. T.Y. Hilton come back and be like the T.Y. Hilton he was and keep doing it. And if they keep not feeding Montgomery like they should and really be a whack-a-mole, it's a good trade for you. I think this is something that we're going to have to wait for the season to play out to see if any one of the person actually really benefited more than the other.
I mean, again, for me, Koprovic traded T.Y. that was on his bench. He's also hurt right now. Vance McDonald, he's also hurt right now on his bench. Didn't really touch his core players. I think Disley is going to be a good tight end replacement for him. And so he traded 2 hurt players from his bench to Matt for a starting running back and a wide receiver 2. Yes, Calvin Ridley is the wide receiver 2 for the Falcons, and he has those crazy blow-up games. And when Koprovic needs a bye filler, that's what the kind of player you want. So
that's a lottery tick flex right there to put in too.
Yep.
So if you're facing a team like Mo, you almost feel inclined. You can feel comfortable. You have Calvin Ridley you can put in that flex spot who can just go off for you.
I understand. I understand why. I understand why both teams did it. I think Koprovic won there over Matt a little bit, but Matt needs the chance that Ty comes back and is sets on fire, because he needs something to set his team on fire. Vance McDonald, I really don't understand because it is. It doesn't really make sense to me because Hawkinson is hurt. And Vance McDonald is hurt. Yes, Vance McDonald is supposed to come back here shortly, but I really don't know when. And no one.
Vance Dance wasn't even that good when he was healthy.
No.
They kind of shown that. We'll see if it's any different with a younger quarterback if he relies on him. It seems like he's more focused on Deontay Johnson. But if you're Matt, you're looking at now moving forward, going toward the end of the season. You're hoping to have a healthy Ty and Juju, and so we'll see how that works out. But I get it. I agree with you. I think Kopro gets the edge for right now, but we'll see how Ty works out in the long run.
Yep, I agree. Then we've got another trade with Matt. He trades away Marlon Mack and Dante Johnson for Devontae Freeman and Curtis Samuels. Devontae Freeman has been really weird this year. Been a up and down player. I don't know what they're doing with him. And Marlon Mack has been a really good running back this year. There were some worries when Luck retired, but I think he had a down week this week because of because they were losing so bad. So I like him as a replacement for Freeman. And then Johnson is an interesting player. I looked at him on the waivers at one point. So I don't hate him. Devontae Freeman is a whack-a-mole for Matt, and he's probably not going to like that very much with the team that's losing right now. And then Curtis Samuels I like, but I think, did I not hear he had some type of injury or some type of issue this week?
No, I don't think. Not that from what I've seen, but I know that he almost had 2 touchdowns. He does get hyper targeted like DJ Moore. They both get about 10 targets a game. So we'll see how it works. I think there's gonna be games Curtis Samuel has big games. I don't think you'll have as big of weeks as like Calvin Ridley would have had for him. Personally, though, I do like Curtis Samuel over Dante Johnson, just because I feel the quarterback play is going to be more consistent in Carolina with Kyle Allen. But I do have Marlon Mack ranked higher than Devontae Freeman. So personally, I was willing to lose on Samuel to get Marlon Mack, which actually the original offer was Marlon Mack for Freeman and Samuel that was sent to me. And I just said, well, send me whoever you're going to, drop, and then he said, well, I'm going to drop Johnson. And I was like, oh, go ahead and include him. And then Johnson blew up last night. I was like, oh, I guess I'll keep him.
Yep.
That's a tip, guys. if you're doing if you're sending a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 or something like that, and they accept it and everything, you can just include saying, hey, whoever you're going to drop, just throw them my way. Because you don't know who they're going to drop. B, it could be somebody you want. And if it is, now you don't even have to waste putting a bid out on them, and you get to get them on your team.
I agree. Not a bad strategy whatsoever. All right, guys, that is it for our Conspiracy Corner this week, the crazy trades. We'll see what happens. It seems like they're not going to slow down anytime soon. Matt is addicted, and Koprovic is also. So, Brad, we all know you have a terrible addiction. So, let's see if you three just keep trading players around. All right.
Intervention.
For sure. All right, next up we've got our WAB Lotto. All right, Brad, what does it show our current WAB is left at right now before the week goes out?
I don't know if anything's really changed. Mo 95, Vince 93, Copro 90, Sam 80, Dixon 68, Dave 59, me at 43, Rod at 40, Stu at 38, Lovick at 31, Adam at 26, and Matt, you are at 16.
So yeah, there are some changes there. I know. I put in my big. I went from the 70s to the 30s for last week.
Lovick put a bid in and got Kenyon Drake.
Good luck on that one, sir. He's on bye, and you could have probably waited a week.
Oh no, he picked him up to face me for his RB2, which is funny because I had a bid in for Kenyon Drake for $3 just to make sure Lovick didn't get him. And I think Lovick outbid me by 7.
6.
I think he bid 7.
I think he bet 6. Yeah,
6, yeah.
Yeah, because I think he was at 37. Anyways, yeah, crazy. Matt with 16 points left. I understand why he's trading at this point. He doesn't have a whole lot of WAB just to go blow right now to pick players up. So we will see how this goes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You want to go to our buy matchups?
Yep, very buy.
Oh no, we got
Laura Bell Bundy. Yeah, we got to check out our bets. Here we go.
Giddy on up and giddy on out.
All right. So I don't think we had a whole lot of crazy bets that have changed other than the 2-2 draft. We got 1, 2, 3. What is it? We got one right, 2 right, 3. We got 3 and 3.
Did we update the? Yeah, we all went 3 and 3. We actually had the same exact picks as Matt and Lovick. But I was kind of looking up here at the water bet. With Lovick had a bet of Diggs. It was Lovick and Matt bet as a water bet. Lovick said Diggs would have more fancy points this season. Matt said Adam Thielen, and I'm pretty sure Diggs might have passed Adam Thielen after this week. So we may want to update that later on.
Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. And I'm pretty sure actually we have a bet that has been won. Actually, I did. This hasn't been updated fully, but I'm pretty sure this is the answer. There's the bet number 3 we had Mo versus Lovick. We had Eckler has more points than Justin Jackson. That was Mo. And that was when and if Gordon reports. So Mo bet that Eckler was going to score more points. Lovick stated that. Is it Lovick or is it you?
Oh, my name's in there. I don't remember.
We'll have to definitely double check that one, but I think that bet's over because Melvin Gordon has reported at this point, and Eckler definitely has more. Mo won. Whoever it is, we'll figure it out if it's Brad or Lovick. But Mo,
he's getting wet.
Yeah, one of you two is getting wet, but Mo definitely won this one for sure, fantasy wise and bet wise. So. That it's going to be an interesting one. So we'll definitely get some of these checked out. But as far as the 2-2 draft is going, we're 7-6 right now versus Lovick and Matt and Adam.
You have an interesting one going on with Matt. He says A.J. Green is going to have more fantasy points this season. You said Marvin Jones. and Green still hasn't reported yet, and Marvin Jones is still getting fantasy points.
Yep. Nope. I'm agreeing. He's making a pretty good case for me there. So we'll see how this goes. If AJ Green doesn't show up until late in the season, Matt is not going to be happy. So, Marlon Mack and Aaron Jones, they're really fighting this one out. So I think it's getting closer, but I think Mack is still winning this as of right now. We'll have to get everything updated and double check, but we'll let you guys know next week for sure.
And then let's go ahead and go to Brad and Stu's biased matchup predictions.
Very biased. Super biased, as a matter of fact. All right, guys. So what we've got here, we've got Stu versus Kaprovic. You know what? I think... Yeah. As of right now, Kaprovic is supposed to beat me. We'll see how that goes. I may have to look into this a little closer. Let's go with Kaprovic for right now. I think Kopro is going to beat me this week. It'll be close, though. Then we've got Brad versus Rod. Who's going to win this one?
I think I'm going to take Rod out. I think Hopkins and Deshaun Watson are going to have a big bounce-back game.
I agree completely.
And I have this guy named Club on my team. They're apparently pretty good.
Yeah. So we've got Day versus Matt. Right now, I'm going to say it's Day over Matt for sure.
Matt, I think you're going to have to wait one more week. We'll see your face next week, see if you can get that first win. And then I think game of the week, Stu.
Game of
Adam
the week
versus Loveday.
Somebody's
getting their first win. One of them getting the first win. Who's it going to be?
It's going to be Adam. Adam's going to win this one. Lovick had a good game last week, but I think that was the best points he's going to do right now until Tyreek gets back. I think Adam's got this one.
Adam wins if he starts. Chris Godwin, Adam. I think Lovick's on bye. Got some players on bye this week. So let me pull up Lovick here. Week 5. Kenyon Drake's on bye. And, he's got Phillip Rivers against Denver. Joe Mixon is going to have a good game against Arizona. But, his matchups really aren't great. But he gets Le'Veon Bell back against Philadelphia. But Philadelphia is tough against the run.
Yep.
So, sorry, Lovick. I think you got another week to wait. Adam, the guru, getting one in the win column this week.
I agree. Then we got Mo versus Dixon. This is a tough matchup. Both teams have been doing well. With Eckler out, Mo may come back down to earth a little bit more, but I think Mo's going to win this one.
So we got Mo with the win. And now we got Sam versus Vince. Who do you think takes this matchup?
I think this is where Sam comes back and he pulls back out of the 2-2, middle of the ranks kind of teams, and he's going to tie Vince with 3-2 record.
Yeah, I agree. Jacoby Brissett plays the Chiefs. Daniel Jones plays Minnesota. And then his other options, Baker Mayfield against San Francisco, which is a tough matchup for Vince. Alvin Kamara against Tampa Bay. Chris Carson against the Rams got lit up. Josh Gordon. Keenan Allen. And then my little Cooper Kupp. I don't think Austin Hooper has another big game like he had. It could prove me wrong. And then plus Vince has Kenny Galladay on bye. So we'll see what happens. But, I agree. I think Sam pulls this one out.
Yep. All right, guys. That is all we've got for this week. We hope you guys all have a good week this week. No injuries. I hope you guys score a crazy amount of points except for Rod and Kaprovic. I hope you guys have some, terrible matchups. I hope you make the wrong decisions on your lineup and you guys have just terrible tinkering all week long.
Tinker away, boys. Tinker away. And Rod, you just go ahead and listen to Insane Clown Posse albums all week.
All right, guys. Bye.